Israel shocked the world by launching 15 fighter jets straight into Qatar's capital city. Yes, 15. The visuals emerging are truly shocking. Israel ignored the world and bombed Doha directly. The backlash they face now is unlike anything we've seen before. The first thing to notice, Israel has crossed a line no one thought it ever would. For years, its air force struck Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, even Iran. But this time, their jets didn't just fly over hostile territory. They entered Doha, Qatar's capital. 10 warplanes thundered across the night sky. Missiles rained down on a residential building in the heart of one of the richest, safest cities in the Gulf. The target, senior Hamas leaders who were in Qatar for ceasefire talks, backed by the United States. According to reports, 6 people were killed. But the Hamas leadership survived. For Israel, it was an attempt to crush their enemy anywhere on earth. For Qatar, it was a direct violation of sovereignty, the kind they cannot ignore. Qatar's Prime Minister, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani, made his anger clear. He said Qatar has the right to respond. Qatar was supposed to be neutral. For decades, Doha was the Switzerland of the Middle East.
The president, right after the attack, he spoke with His Highness the Emir, and he was very clear that this is unacceptable, and he's not agreeing with such a thing, and he was never informed about it. And the moment he was informed, he asked his official to inform us. Unfortunately, this information came too late.
It hosted the Taliban talks with the US. It hosted negotiations with Iran. It was a meeting ground for sworn enemies. Now, that reputation is in ruins, because Israel has just proven not even Doha is safe. And then comes the shocking twist. Hours after the attack, Washington officials claimed Qatar had been warned, that they knew Israeli jets were on their way. But Qatar immediately denied this. No warning, no information, nothing. So who is lying? Did America really give approval behind closed doors? Or did Israel act alone, dragging the US into chaos afterwards? The contradictions shook diplomats around the world. Because if the United States, Qatar's biggest protector, allowed this strike, then what does that mean for every other ally in the Gulf? Let's not forget, Qatar hosts Al Udeid Air Base, the largest US military base in the entire Middle East, home to thousands of American troops, bombers, tankers, intelligence aircraft, and the command and control hub for US operations across the region. If Israel can do this in the shadow of America's strongest base, then what value do US security guarantees really hold? Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Kuwait, Pakistan, Iran all denounced the attack. The United Nations warned of dangerous escalation. Even the UAE's president flew to Doha in solidarity, calling the assault criminal. This was significant because relations between Qatar and the UAE have been strained in the past. Now, old rivals are standing shoulder to shoulder. But Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu defended the strike. His words were chilling. He said Hamas leaders will be hunted anywhere, even in Qatar.
It promised to hunt down the terrorists who committed this heinous crime wherever they may be. And it also passed a resolution in the Security Council of the UN 2 weeks later that said governments cannot give harbor to terrorists. Well, yesterday we acted along those lines. In Qatar, which gives safe haven, it harbors terrorists, it finances Hamas, it gives its terrorist chieftains sumptuous villas, it gives them everything. And I say to Qatar and all nations who harbor terrorists, you either expel them or you bring them to justice. Because if you don't, we will.
For the first time, Israel expanded its war beyond the usual fronts. Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Iran, and hit a Gulf monarchy, one of Washington's closest strategic partners. It's not just military, it's economic. In recent years, Qatar signed massive trade deals with the United States, worth more than $1 trillion. American companies in energy, defense, technology, and construction are deeply tied to Doha. And yet, that didn't stop the strike. The irony goes even deeper. People wondered, could Qatar one day normalize relations with Israel? Now, after this attack, that door is slammed shut. And in the middle of it all, Donald Trump's name has surfaced once more. Qatar has gifted him planes and expensive items in the past. Years ago, he accused them of funding extremism. Now, under his watch, their capita has been bombed. Trump distanced himself quickly, saying this was Netanyahu's decision. But doubts remain. The bigger story is what happens next. Because the Gulf states are at a crossroads. Do they keep relying on the United States, even though America either failed to protect Qatar or quietly approved Israel's actions? Or do they begin turning to other powers, China, Russia, to guarantee their security? Some say the Gulf may even build its own independent defense systems, strong enough that no country would dare strike them again.
Qatari Naval Forces booth to talk about this system that we are proud to have developed for our customer. The system operates with two different kinds of missiles. The first one you can see over there is the Exocet MM40 Block 3 missile. It's very well known, it's part of the Exocet family, which is operative since decades all around the world. This is a member of the Marte family, also this one operating since decades all around the world, and namely also in the Italian Navy.
This is not just about Hamas. It's about alliances. It's about survival. A dangerous precedent has been set. And now the entire region stands at a turning point. The Middle East will never be the same again. Subscribe now, because the next chapter of the story will be even more explosive.